Okay, welcome everyone to C Sharp 10 and .NET 6. As the target is to take you from beginner to advanced. In this same session, you are going to be learning everything that is required for you to become a C Sharp developer. So in that light, we're probably going to start today with the introductory section of everything. So like you can see on the slide, you have Learn C Sharp 10 and .NET 6 from beginners to advanced part 1. That's introduction. I am actually Andropu Ajebua. I'm a Google Developer Student Club mentor and actually a software developer, a .NET software developer. So we are actually going to follow this outline this morning. So these are the things we're going to cover for this lesson today, for the part 1. We are going to be looking at the .NET architecture. We are going to be looking at what can you do with .NET 6. We are going to be looking at why C# programming language. We are going to be looking at C# and its evolution. And we are going to be looking at Visual Studio Code installation for those of you who have not done that already. Now, this is a completely developer session. For this introduction part, we don't have anything like coding. We're just introducing you to the C# and the .NET platform. Before you study any programming language, it's good you have the basic theory. So this is going to be kind of like the only lesson which we're going to be talking about just theory. The second lesson, we're going to be talking about both the theory and the practical. We're going to be doing real life coding on it. So I just get your mind ready and set up anything. In case you don't understand anything, you can actually use the comment section. For those of you who follow on YouTube, you can use the comment section on YouTube. For those of you following live, you can actually use a chat room and drop me a text. I'll be able to answer any questions for you. Okay, so the first thing we want to look at is the .NET architecture. And what is actually the .NET architecture? The .NET architecture is simply, let me just say, the .NET framework. It is actually the software development platform. The .NET is actually a software development platform which is made up of a lot of things put together to help the developer to be able to develop the software application without any difficulties or little or no difficulties. It is made up extensively of different components. So if you look at the block diagram by your right, I'm sure by your right today, you're going to realize that the .NET platform is a development environment that has different components. Like the first thing you see on top there, you see those are different programming languages. VB stands for Visual Basic, C++, or C#, JavaScript, a lot more of other things. You see F# and a whole lot of other things. So that's the first layer. It therefore means that the .NET architecture, the .NET framework, is actually an environment that helps us to develop our application using different programming languages. For this course, we are going to be focusing on C# and specifically C# 10, and we are going to be using .NET 6. Now, you see that you have a command language specification. You might not understand. If you're a beginner programmer, you might not understand anything here. Like I said, this session is made both for beginners, people that have never, the assumption is that you have never done coding before. That's a prerequisite. You don't have any prior knowledge to actually take this series. So even if you have not done anything, you don't know everything about programming, just follow across. Even for developers that are already coding, maybe you have studied a lot of programming languages, but you don't specify in any one, you don't really have a mastery. This series is still going to be good for you because we are actually going to be focusing a lot on object-oriented programming in this course. So you have things like web services, ASP.NET Web Form, Windows Form. We have data. We have extensible markup languages, XML classes. We have framework libraries. Framework libraries are libraries that have been built and constructed already, which you just need to use and help your application run. Most importantly, we have the command language runtime. which is what you're probably going to. We're going to understand this subsequently when we start writing code, and we'll explain to you what is happening. And if you look the other block by far right, you see Visual Studio.net. Visual Studio is the IDE. Whenever you want to write code, you need an environment where you'll be writing that code. Take, for example, if you want to prepare arrow, you need port to prepare that arrow inside. Now, for you to prepare spaghetti, you probably need port to prepare the spaghetti inside. So the environment, the port is just like, the port which you're using is just like the IDE. So Visual Studio Code is our IDE we are going to be using to writing our own code. So it's kind of our environment. So IDE actually stands for Integrated Development Environment. Now we want to look at the .NET evolution. .NET evolution. Honestly, .NET does not really start from 2019 because it is .NET 1.0. But just for the sake of this course, I want us to start from the .NET. Let me say .NET Core 3.0. .NET started very far from 1, and forget about the aspect that you have a .NET Core here. There are two types of .NET. You can have .NET and .NET Core. .NET is actually a version of .NET that is probably a little bit has a little bit of restriction, but .NET Core is probably an open source. Open source therefore means that both the Microsoft, because .NET is a platform for Microsoft, both Microsoft can probably Microsoft is actually working to improve on it, and the community too, therefore means that other developers, when you say software is open source, therefore means that the code is made available to anyone, that you might probably work on the modification actually you need. So the core edition is very open, and for now it has a lot of benefits based on the developer choice. I would say it have a lot of benefit compared to .NET itself. So for .NET evolution, like you see there, you have .NET Core 3.0, you have .NET Core 3.1, you have .NET Core 5, you have .NET Core 6, you have .NET Core 7. Now, you look at it, you discover that if you want to look at, we don't want to go into details, assuming that we're working with beginners programmers, we don't want to go into details what is the difference between .NET 0.0, 3.0, and 3.1. Why? Because for your start, it's not going to be really helping you that too much. You just need the fundamentals to go ahead. The one thing you should keep in your mind is that the difference between .NET, let me say .NET 3.0 and 3.1 is that there are some features inside 3.1 that will make 3.1 better than 3.2, just like the other one. It's just like applications on your phone. Each time you have updates in the application, therefore means that new features, better functionality, better performance is actually coming. So currently, now the .NET 6 we are using is actually something that was probably released in 2021. .NET 7 is already out, but not very stable. And 2023, Microsoft is going to be releasing .NET 8. So, but whatever version of .NET you are using is still compatible with your C# code you are going to be writing. So just forget about the versions and all the rest. Focus on .NET 6, which is stable now, what most people are using now, which is the latest thing in the market, which you need skills. Now we want to ask yourself this question. After .NET evolution, you have seen the different types of .NET. The question is, you are going to be building applications on .NET, but what can you do with .NET 6? What can you do with .NET 6? .NET 6, C# 10. When I talk about .NET 6, you're looking at C# 10. What can you do with .NET 6? .NET 6 has a wide horizon of application. In short, I'm tempted to say that C# is, for me, I'll say the most preferred programming language I would choose as of now, for various reasons. When I'm done with this presentation, you're probably going to understand why. Now, .NET 6, because .NET 6 creates you an environment where you can develop desktop application using just a single programming language, that's C#, which you can develop desktop application, you can develop cloud application, you can talk about Azure, you can talk about AWS, you can talk about a whole lot of Salesforce, a whole lot of other platforms that actually have cloud functionality. But for Microsoft platform for cloud application development is actually Microsoft Azure. Now you can develop web-based application on .NET 6. You can actually develop embedded system application on .NET 6. You can actually develop mobile application on .NET 6, and most interestingly, you can actually develop artificial intelligence applications on .NET 6. That's a wide horizon on that you can develop application. It's very difficult to say a single programming language that is able to develop application across all these platforms. So we can say that .NET is actually a cross-platform. It's actually a cross-platform. It actually helps you to develop application that has cross-platform functionalities. So that's what you should keep in your mind when you're studying C#. Now, why C# programming language? Why should you choose C# programming language? Why? For various reasons, which are actually the best way we can appreciate why we should study C# programming language is the aspect that we should look at the features of that programming language. Not just C#10, but let's focus on the features of the C# programming language. The first thing you want to look at is very simple. When you know a little bit of C, or even if you don't know anything about programming, you have never studied any programming language before, C# is very simple for you to study. Forget about what other people say out there that C# is a very difficult programming language. I thought as much before I entered there, but when I entered into C#, I realized that, well, C# is simple compared to other programming languages. I've studied Java, I've studied Python, I've studied C, I've actually studied JavaScript, I've studied a whole lot of other programming languages there. But I will let you understand that C# is a simple programming language. Once you understand the syntax and the semantics of just a single program like Hello World program, you can navigate your way to the top with C#. Another thing is that it's fast speed. Most companies out there, what they use is C# because it's very stable and simple like that. So you can check, you can find out for yourself. Another thing, it has rich class libraries. It's very difficult for you want to able to do something, then you probably don't find a class library in C# that will help you do that thing. It's very difficult. Unlike other programming language where you might need to go and develop maybe something like API, or you might need to go and develop your own class library to be able to work, to perform a functionality. So C# has a rich class library out there. Another thing that you actually have is a structured programming language. So C# is actually structured. It has a very good structure. You can actually write a structure just like you can equally do object-oriented. Another thing is a component-oriented. It's a component-oriented programming language. So you are studying things like object-oriented programming or component, you discover that it helps you for you to be able to develop your application component by component, and which will help in the maintainability of that software in the long run. Another thing is that it is scalable and updatable. It is scalable, which therefore means that you can write an application which you can easily scale up, you can scale down, and with easy functionality for you to update that application at any time. The next thing is that it's interoperability. It therefore means that if I write a C# program here, I can equally run in other environments. It's TypeScript. You might not understand that one in the long run. You're going to understand what the other one if you're a beginner programmer. It's object-oriented, which therefore implies that C# actually enable you to be able to or to be able to relate to the real world, just like you can talk about object in the real world, cup, pan, plate. When you're writing an application, you can focus on that too. Most interestingly, C# is a modern programming language. When you talk about modern programming language, it's not just like the word we said modern, is that it has the rich functionalities like all the OOP, like any good functionality in any program. If you have studied any programming language before, any functionality will make a programming language unique. You probably see in C# development. So those are just some few of the benefits why you should study C# programming language. Most interesting for me, I develop smart applications, and more interesting for me is probably the artificial intelligence features that have been implemented. That's the ML.NET that have been implemented using C#, which I think just with a single programming language, I can work with everything around in my domain as a software developer. Now we want to look at C# and its evolution. Let's look at C# and the evolution. C#. So when you're studying C#, you should focus on your mind that it's not just C# code where it's good, any C# code 1.0 you will still be flexible with 10.0, but you should be careful with your syntax. You want to learn the thing that is recent and most recent in the market. Because if you go and start studying something which is outdated, then at the end of the day, you discover that you might not be able to collaborate with other developers. So if you look at the diagram, you discover that in 2002, Microsoft developed C# 1.0. It's not my feature here to be able to tell you the difference between all of them. The one thing I want you to keep in your mind is that C# 1.0 and 1.1 1.1 has some features which are better and make it more flexible than with 1.0. So over the years from 2002 to 2021, Microsoft has greatly helped to improve. And in 2022, mind you, there is already C# 11.0 already existing now, but we will do C# 10, which is what is widely used in most companies and out there, because it is very flexible and very stable as of now. So that's the C# evolution. So you can look at the trend, how many years from that end to this end. So it's constantly being. One of the things as a software developer is that you're always going to be learning new things as the day goes by. Now, the next session here is you should be able to install Visual Studio Code. I don't know, this is a link to install Visual Studio Code. I'll put it in the comment section on YouTube, and the PowerPoint is going to be made available for all those who are following the training live. So you can simply go on Google, you can probably just follow that link. Once you go on Google, follow that link, and you can download the community version of Visual Studio Code. It's a very simple installation process. If you face any difficulties during the installation, please feel free to hit me up at the YouTube comment section, or we'll be able to help you out with the installation. For those of you following live, I believe that I already asked you guys to be able to do your installation, which I think you have done it already. If in case you have not done it, to follow the YouTube session in the comment, ask me a question on any difficulties you're facing, or help you out. Thanks so much for listening. It is your feedback that back me up. So in case of any worries, any questions, I'll be ready to get it from you guys. So I think that's part one. It was just basic introduction for you to be able to understand what. Any question from those following live? Do you have any question you want to ask? Please, you can let me know. Are there any questions?